Now I know about camera angles. I'm going to go back through my shots and choose the best angle for each shot. My story begins with an extreme long shot to show how big the forest is. I could start the whole film with an overhead shot looking straight down on the forest. This will show the audience just how big and dense that forest is. Then the camera is going to show the extreme long shot, followed by a long shot of the house. We then go inside the house where we see the three bears preparing porridge in the kitchen. I want the audience to connect with this family of bears, so I'm going to choose an eye level angle for this shot. I haven't shown the three bears leaving, just Goldilocks arriving, so I better add another shot in here. I'm going to use an over the shoulder shot, so we feel like we are standing in the kitchen watching as the three bears head off for a walk while the porridge cools down. I can see my next shot is an extreme long shot that shows Goldilocks approaching the house. If I was watching this, I'd be thinking, there's only one path, so wouldn't Goldilocks pass the three bears on the path? So I'm going to use an overhead shot to show the geography of the landscape. That way I can place Goldilocks on a path that meets up with the one that leads to the three bears' house. So now the why didn't they pass each other problem is solved. My next shot is a full shot of Goldilocks arriving at the house. I have to think about how I want the audience to see Goldilocks. Do I want to present her as a little girl who innocently stumbled on a house in the middle of a forest, in which case I'd use a high angle? Or I could use a low angle to make Goldilocks look like a brat in the woods who has no respect for things that don't belong to her. I'm going to go back to my story theme, and I can see that I wanted to show the bears having to be brave to face the intruder in the house. If I make Goldilocks innocent, the audience will care for both Goldilocks and the bears. But in my story, I want the audience to really cheer for the bears when they find the courage to face the little intruder. By making her a brat, the audience will be happy to see her get what's coming to her, because we like to think that by the end, the good will be rewarded and the bad will be punished. It gives us a feeling that things have been made right, and therefore the story feels resolved. A low angle will make Goldilocks look powerful, and if I put it on a Dutch angle, the audience will get a sense that something isn't right. In the next shot, we see her in the kitchen looking at the three bowls of porridge. We can see her trying the porridge. By making this a low angle, we are reinforcing this idea of her having power and being dominant. I want the audience to dislike Goldilocks' behaviour, so this would be a good time to use a bug's eye view from the bowl, looking directly up as she spoons globsfuls of porridge into her mouth. This will make her look big and uncaring. I'm also going to show the audience the mess she left in the kitchen, so a bird's eye view will work perfectly here to show the extent of that mess. The next shot shows Goldilocks looking at the three chairs. I'm going to use a high angle to show the whole room as she tries the first two chairs. Then when she sits on Baby Bear's chair, I'm going to increase the tension by turning the camera on a Dutch angle to indicate that something is about to go wrong right before she crashes to the ground. I can see that in this next shot, we see Goldilocks looking at the three beds. I'm going to use a low angle again as we continue to show Goldilocks in the power position. And to show that Papa's bear was too big, I'm going to use a bug's eye view, as these angles are great for showing the size or scale of things. Mama Bear's bed is too soft, so I'm going to shift to a high angle so we can see Goldilocks getting swallowed up by it. And finally, we'll settle on eye level shot so the audience can relate to Goldilocks as she falls asleep in Baby Bear's bed. I have an extreme long shot to show the bears coming home, and then I've planned for a full shot to show them arriving home. I'm going to add a high angle to this shot, as this will make the bears appear more vulnerable. I'm going to add a point of view shot where we see the open door from the three bears' view. Next, I'll show the bears looking at the broken chair in the lounge room from a high angle, as this will make them look like vulnerable victims in a crime scene. We're using an over-the-shoulder angle as the three bears look into the bedroom. I'm going to use a high-angle shot of Baby Bear's face as he points to the figure asleep in his bed, as this will increase his vulnerability. I plan to increase the tension by showing the bears through Goldilocks' point of view. This is a good time to switch from using high angles to show the bears as vulnerable to using a low angle to make the bears look big and scary, which is how Goldilocks would see them. I'll add a high angle to this medium close-up of Goldilocks so she looks little and scared. And I'll use the same high angle of Baby Bear to show that he too is scared. Then I'll switch to a low angle to show Papa Bear's power. A Dutch angle to increase the tension of seeing his sharp claws, followed by an extreme close-up of his teeth. Then his eyes, followed by her eyes. I'm going to finish off with a high angle of the room as we see Goldilocks leap out of the bed and run from the room. The final shot will be watching over the shoulder of the three bears as Goldilocks runs off down the road. Wow, I'm so proud of myself. All my hard work is paying off. I can see exactly how this film is going to draw in my audience and hold their attention by taking them on a dramatic journey with moments of intensity balanced with empathy for the characters. Now it's your turn to add camera angles to your project. Once you've finished, submit it to your teacher for feedback, and I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll be looking at camera movement.